Hi, today I am doing the rapid fire book tag. The point of this tag is to try to answer the questions quickly without thinking too much about them. That might be a struggle for me. My goal is to have the finished, edited version of this video be less than 10 minutes long. Let's see if we can do it and we will get started. Question 1, ebook or physical book? I definitely prefer physical books. Question 2, paperback or hardback? I like hardbacks more. I do have more paperbacks though, and I'm usually gonna pick a paperback if it's the cheaper option, which it usually is. So I don't mind them, but I do ultimately prefer hardbacks. Question 3, online or in-store book shopping? I prefer in-store shopping. Question 4, trilogies or series? I guess for now I'll say trilogies because they're shorter. I don't mind a series, I just have to like it in order to enjoy the whole thing. So I could read a series, but I haven't read a lot of long series, but there have been trilogies I've enjoyed. Question 5, heroes or villains? Heroes. Question 6, a book you want everyone to read? It's kind of tough. I mean, I would like for more people to check out Travis M. Riddle, one of my favorite authors. He is a smaller self-published author, so you're most likely not familiar with him. But I'm picking this book, Flesh Eater, the first book in the Houndstooth trilogy. This is an adult fantasy series with anthropomorphic animals as the main characters, and it's really weird and unique and funny, and I like the characters, and it's got an interesting original plot, and I personally think his books are a good time, so I would like for more people to read his books, and if I had to recommend any, I would say this one, especially if you like fantasy. Question 7, recommend an underrated book. Well, I've already mentioned the Houndstooth trilogy, so I'll just say another one of that author's books, and this one is a slightly different genre, so there's some variety here. And that is his standalone novel, The Narrows, if you want to start reading his work, but you might want to read something shorter. That's not a whole series. There is this. This is a contemporary horror, but it also is very much about friendship and grief, but there's some pretty weird, kind of gross stuff that happens in it, and I remember enjoying it and finding it very visceral. So I haven't read a lot of horror, but I did enjoy this, and this was interesting where it was like kind of wild and I was like, what am I reading? But I was also enjoying it. So I think I enjoy that feeling in books. Question 8, the last book you finished. So technically the last book I finished it was a book I borrowed from the library, and if you've watched my recent library reads videos, you know that I have been reading a lot of smaller children's books because the main books I have are books that are like books I already own, more of novels, but I also read some children's books whether I'm revisiting them or wanted to check them out because I like them or am interested in them for whatever reason. So technically the last book I finished was one of the Arthur books, Arthur Turns Green by Mark Brown. I will make my video eventually talking about the books I got from the library, talking about the first few Arthur books I read because I like the show, but I had never really read any of the books before. So those have been fun, light reads. Some of them I feel are pretty good and have good messages, and some of them have really nice illustrations as well. As for the last novel that I finished, that would be Poet Anderson of Nightmares by Tom DeLonge and Suzanne Young. Question 9, the last book you bought. So that would be the last 5 books that I got. So the last books I got were these 5 books that I got from To the Stars. There is A Planet of Blood and Ice by A.J. Hartley. This is what I'm currently reading. I am about halfway through and am enjoying this. Strange Times, The Ghost and the Girl by Tom DeLonge and Jeff Herbach. The sequel to a book I just mentioned, Poet Anderson and Darkness by Tom DeLonge and Suzanne Young. Then a couple more of Tom DeLonge's books. There is Poet Anderson the Dreamwalker. This is the Poet Anderson graphic novel. And one of his children's books, The Lonely Astronaut on Christmas Eve. So all these 5 books I got at the same time, so I don't have just one last book that I bought. Question 10, weirdest thing you've used as a bookmark? I don't really know if I've ever used anything weird. I have used little papers folded up as origami or sort of in the shape of a bookmark, but they weren't that weird looking. I don't know if I've used anything weird, and I generally don't use bookmarks. So yeah, and because I'm supposed to be trying to answer these questions quickly, I don't think I have anything to say for this. I don't think I've ever used anything absurd. Question 11, used books, yes or no? Yes. Question 12, top 3 favorite genres. Well, I know contemporary is definitely number 1. And then after that, maybe biographies somewhere in there, because I do read a lot of biographies and I like a lot of those, whether they're about an artist I like or even just other people. I enjoy learning about other people, so maybe that'll go somewhere in there. And then after that, there are just other genres that I know I want to read more of, and then they could be in there. I don't think science fiction is going to be in there. I have enjoyed a bit of science fiction, but I don't know. Same with fantasy, although I think I like that a little more. Besides that, maybe historical fiction. I do like some of that, but I haven't read very much of that. But that kind of ties in with the learning aspect of reading biographies. I definitely want to read more mystery. I want to read more horror. I definitely have a lot of branching out to do. I just don't know if I can say historical fiction because I feel like I haven't read very much of it, but I do enjoy it. So for now, we'll just say number 1, contemporary/realistic fiction. Number 2, biographies. Number 3, historical fiction. Is that completely accurate? I don't know. Of course, it's subject to change over time, but I'm trying to answer these questions quickly. I know that contemporary is definitely number 1. As for the others, I'm not so sure of their placements, but those are the answers that come to mind. Question 13, borrow or buy? I'll say borrow. I do buy a lot of books, but I'm also very happy to borrow many of them as well. Question 14, character or plot? Character is much more important to me. Question 5, long or short books? I guess short books I prefer, but I don't mind long books. It just depends on what's in the pages. It depends what the words say. If a book is going to be really long, then I think it should have a reason to be that long. I think most, if not everything in the book should serve a purpose to the story, and I think that I should care about the characters, I should find it interesting, it shouldn't take forever to get into. It just depends. I have enjoyed long books. I'm just not going to enjoy all of them. So I am open to it. And I don't have a limit for, like, if a book is a certain amount of pages, then I won't read it. Question 16, long or short chapters? I think I prefer short chapters. Question 17, name the first 3 books you think of. Well, I guess that would be, I don't know, this one comes to mind. And this one. And this one, they're not necessarily all my favorites. I mean, these 2 are definitely up there. So yeah, I guess these 3, if you just ask me which books come to mind, they all either are books I really enjoy, well, they all are, or they are books that represent me, my tastes, and what I like. Question 18, books that make you laugh or cry. I guess I'll say books that make me laugh, although I would like to read more emotional books. I think that some of the books on my TBR definitely fit that description. But I don't think I've cried very much to books so far, not that I can remember or think of, but it might happen more in the future, we'll see. Question 19, our world or fictional worlds? I definitely think that there are aspects of fictional worlds that are more appealing, but when it comes to what I like to read, I generally prefer reading about our world. I don't know, maybe just because it's what we live in and we can't fully escape it, or I can just relate to it more, find it easier to follow along with, and I want to read more about people who've had experiences like me, or because if I'm reading about people in the real world, then I can learn about their perspective more, even if I can't relate to them. I think that's important compared to reading about some mythical creature or something that doesn't exist. Can still be fun, and you can still learn from it, absolutely. It's not that there's nothing to learn from other kinds of fiction. I just mean people I'm reading about in contemporary fiction. I'm sure that people like that exist in real life, and that can help me get to know them and their real life situations better. So yes, for that one I'm saying our world. Question 20, audiobooks, yes or no? Yes. Question 21, do you ever judge a book by its cover? I mean, I don't buy books just because I like the cover. A cover may catch my attention, and then I might try to find out what it's about, and if it sounds interesting enough, I might get it or borrow it. And if I am looking through a booktuber's book reviews, or maybe looking at books on Goodreads or anywhere online, then yeah, the same applies. Sometimes I will skip something and not look at it further just because I'm looking at them quickly, and if the cover's not intriguing, then I might not be interested in checking it out. But if it is intriguing, then that, I think, gives me a higher chance of checking it out. But I don't buy books just because of the covers, and as for if I judge them, I guess, but that's not really what's most important to me. What's most important to me is the story, but ultimately, if the cover's not good or not appealing to me, then I may not learn what the story is about in the first place. But, like, if a story sounds interesting to me, but I don't like the cover, then I'm not gonna, like, reject the book. If I think it sounds interesting enough, then I will read it. Question 22, book to movie or book to TV adaptations? I feel like I prefer movies over TV, or at least when it comes to TV shows that just go on forever unless I really like them, like Bob's Burgers, even though that's episodic. I guess it just depends. If I like the characters and setting and everything enough, I don't mind if it goes on for a very long time. But I think in a lot of cases, I generally am just not very interested in trying out series that go on for a very long time. However, I think when you're adapting a book, it depends on the book, but if a TV series would be better to really include everything, then yeah, that could be more appealing. But if it has space for more than what was in the book, and then you're adding a bunch of other things that were in the book, some things can be expanded upon well, and some things can just be unnecessary, or just they shouldn't even be there. I definitely have watched more book to movie adaptations than book to TV. So I guess based just on what I generally prefer when it comes to movies or TV and what I've watched more, I guess for this one, I'll say movies. The point of this tag is not to ramble, and that actually feels good because then I don't have to feel like I have to over-explain things. Question 23, a movie or TV book adaptation that you preferred more than the book? This one, I will say the movie adaptation of World War Z by Max Brooks, because I did not like this book at all. I liked a few sentences and not much else. There were a few things in this book that I liked, but it just was not enough to make me give it more than 1 star. I understand that some people like this kind of book. I don't think it was for me. Now, the movie is, I think, less than 2 hours long, so even if it were the worst movie I'd ever seen, which it wasn't, then at least it wouldn't have gone on for as long. This book took me like a month and a half to read. I don't know how I even got through it. I'm looking back at this book and I'm thinking, like, how did I read this whole thing? And it did still take me a while, but I'm like, how did it not take me longer? So when it comes to the movie, I liked it more than the book, not just because it was shorter and lasted shorter, but I do feel like it was kind of better. I mean, it's very different from the book, which is part of why it's better. For one, we actually get like a main character who has a family to come back to, so I cared a little more. I think the characters is just one thing that this book lacks. There's like this narrator interviewer. I don't think he even had a name. If he did, I don't remember. And then most of the characters we just hear from once and then never again. They weren't very connected to each other. This book was very much more about the world, governments, and things like that rather than more of a community. And it makes sense with what the book is about, but I just was not into it. So I did enjoy watching the movie a bit more than reading the book. Question 24, series or standalones? Standalones. Question 25, tag others. Whoever sees this who wants to do it. That's what I usually say. There is the rapid fire book tag. I will go edit this and see if it ends up being under 10 minutes long. My guess is I think it will be. But thank you for watching. If you would like to do this tag as well, the questions are in the description, as always, whenever I do a tag.